Oh, how wrong we were. How magnificently, spectacularly wrong that my name is Vorth, 9, Supreme Archive Keeper of the Galactic Historical Commission, and if you had told me 3 cycles ago that I would be recording this confession from a detention facility orbiting Sol 3, I would have laughed until my respiratory sacs collapsed. But here I am, staring at the blue marble that somehow managed to outsmart a civilization that has been rewriting galactic history for 12,000 years. Let me explain how we got here, because frankly, someone needs to document this disaster before the humans decide to edit our version of events too. The Kytherian Empire had perfected temporal manipulation long before your species discovered fire. We possessed the Nexus Codex, a device that could literally rewrite historical events across space and time. Wars that never happened. We made them vanish. Civilizations that proved troublesome. Erased from existence with a simple keystroke. We had become gods of causality itself, and we were very, very good at it. Or so we thought. The assignment seemed routine when High Command issued the directive. Earth, designation Sol 3, had begun showing signs of rapid technological advancement. Nothing too concerning, mind you. Just another upstart species that would need some historical adjustments. Standard procedure called for subtle modifications to their timeline. Remove a few key discoveries, redirect some wars, maybe ensure that certain brilliant minds never got the chance to be born. Commander Xylith Prime, our finest temporal operative, assembled a strike team of 12 specialists. The plan was elegant in its simplicity: establish a temporal anchor point in Earth's past, insert our agents into key historical moments, and gently guide humanity toward a more manageable evolutionary path. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Absolutely everything. The first sign of trouble came when Agent Morix 7 attempted to prevent the human called Einstein from developing his theories of relativity. Simple enough task, really. Just arrange for him to become fascinated with music instead of physics. But when Morix returned to our temporal observation post, something was different. "Sir," he reported to Xylith Prime, his voice carrying an unusual tremor. The human adapted. Adapted? Xylith Prime's mandibles clicked in confusion. What do you mean, adapted? I successfully redirected Einstein toward music, as planned. But somehow, he began incorporating mathematical principles into his compositions. He created something he called harmonic relativity and accidentally discovered the same fundamental principles through sound wave analysis. Xylith Prime's 3 eyes narrowed. Impossible. Humans don't have that level of cognitive flexibility. Oh, how naive we were. The second incident occurred when Agent Crix 14 attempted to prevent the human Wright brothers from achieving flight. Standard historical revision called for subtly sabotaging their experiments. But instead of giving up, these humans began studying bird migration patterns more intensively. Not only did they achieve flight 6 months earlier than originally recorded, but they somehow developed a more efficient wing design in the process. Sir, Crix 14's report was even more disturbing. They turned the sabotage into an advantage. The human Orville actually thanked me afterward, thinking I was trying to help them improve their design. By now, Xylith Prime was growing concerned. But Kytherian pride runs deep, and admitting that a primitive species might be outmaneuvering us was unthinkable. He ordered more aggressive interventions. Agent THYSS-2 was dispatched to prevent the development of human-computer technology. Her mission was to ensure that the human Alan Turing never pursued his work in computational theory. The plan was flawless: convince him to become a botanist instead. 3 days later, THYSS-2 returned in a state of complete bewilderment. The human developed a new field, she reported, her voice barely above a whisper. He calls it biological computing. He is using plant neural networks to perform calculations. His garden is somehow solving mathematical problems. Xylith Prime threw his tablet across the command chamber. This is ridiculous. Plants cannot perform computations. Tell that to Turing's carrots, sir. They just calculated pi to 50 decimal places. At this point, any reasonable commander would have aborted the mission. But Kytherian doctrine demanded results, and Xylith Prime was nothing if not determined. He decided to take direct action. The plan was ambitious: prevent World War II entirely by ensuring that the human artist Adolf Hitler became successful in his painting career. Simple, clean, effective. No war, no technological advancement driven by conflict, no nuclear weapons. Xylith Prime personally oversaw this operation, using our most sophisticated temporal manipulation equipment to subtly influence art critics and gallery owners in early 20th century Vienna. Within months, Hitler's paintings were selling like hotcakes, as the humans say. But did this prevent the war? Oh no. Of course not. Instead, Hitler became so wealthy from his art sales that he started a massive cultural movement promoting peace through artistic expression. This led to unprecedented international cooperation, which resulted in accelerated scientific collaboration between nations. By 1935, human technology had advanced by nearly 30 years beyond its original timeline. "Sir," reported Agent Vex 11, who had been monitoring the situation. "The humans are now working together on something they call the Manhattan Friendship Project. They are attempting to split the atom for peaceful energy purposes." "Please tell me they have not succeeded," Xylith Prime whispered. "They succeeded last Tuesday, sir. They also accidentally discovered faster-than-light particle transmission in the process. That was when High Command decided to recall our team, but the humans were not finished with us yet." "Oh no, they were just getting started." As we prepared to extract our temporal anchors and retreat to our own time, something unprecedented happened. The human monitoring systems, primitive as they were supposed to be, detected our temporal manipulations. A message appeared on every screen in our command vessel simultaneously: "Hey there, time travelers. Thanks for all the help with the improvements. Your friends from Earth. P.S. We figured out how to track temporal disturbances. Fancy meeting you here." Xylith Prime's 3 hearts stopped beating for a full 5 seconds. "How?" he gasped. "How did they detect us?" The answer came from an unexpected source: a transmission from the surface of Earth, specifically from a facility in what the humans called CERN. "This is Dr. Elena Vasquez from the European Organization for Nuclear Research," the transmission began. "We would like to formally invite you to a meeting. We have coffee, cookies, and several questions about temporal mechanics that we hope you might help us answer." "Should we run, sir?" asked Agent Morix 7. Xylith Prime considered this option seriously. "We could retreat to our own time, report our failure to High Command, and recommend that Earth be left alone for another few centuries." It was the sensible thing to do, but then another message arrived. "Oh, and before you leave," Dr. Vasquez's voice continued cheerfully, "you should know that we have already reverse-engineered your temporal anchor technology. We thought you might like to see our improvements." The screens in our command chamber lit up with schematics. Human schematics. Of temporal manipulation technology that was somehow more advanced than our own. "That is impossible," Xylith Prime muttered. "Actually," came another voice over the transmission, "it was surprisingly straightforward once we understood the basic principles. This is Dr. Marcus Thompson from MIT. We took the liberty of fixing a few inefficiencies in your design. The power consumption was frankly embarrassing." "Embarrassing?" Xylith Prime's voice rose to a squeak. "Your temporal stabilizers were running at roughly 12% efficiency," Dr. Thompson continued conversationally. "We managed to boost that to about 87%. Also, you might want to check your quantum field generators. They have been leaking chronotons all over our timeline." Agent Crix 14 was frantically checking our equipment. "Sir," she whispered, "they are correct. Our systems are indeed operating at suboptimal parameters." "How did they determine this?" Xylith Prime demanded. "We asked our 12-year-old intern, Tommy Martinez," came a new voice. "He is quite good with physics. Also, he wanted us to tell you that your math homework has several errors." "Our math homework?" A human child was critiquing Kytherian temporal mathematics. That was the moment I realized we were in serious trouble. Tob continued, so there we were, 12 of the galaxy's finest temporal operatives, being schooled by a human child named Tommy Martinez. If you had told me that this moment would define the rest of my career, I would have requested immediate psychiatric evaluation, but Xylith Prime, bless his stubborn mandibles, was not ready to admit defeat. Impossible, he declared, his voice echoing through our command chamber. No species develops temporal technology this quickly. There must be an explanation. The explanation came faster than we expected, and it was worse than our wildest fears. Oh, that is easy to answer. Dr. Vasquez's cheerful voice crackled through our communications array. We have been working on temporal mechanics for about 6 hours now. Tommy here suggested we should probably understand how you folks were messing with our timeline before we invited you for coffee. 6 hours. 6 hours to reverse engineer technology that had taken our civilization 3 millennia to perfect. 6 hours? Agent THWSS 2 whispered, her voice barely audible. Well, technically 5 hours and 43 minutes, corrected Dr. Thompson. We spent the first 17 minutes arguing about whether to serve cookies or donuts at the meeting. Xylith Prime's right eye began twitching uncontrollably. In all my cycles as archive keeper, I had never seen a Kytherian commander experience what humans apparently call a nervous breakdown in real time. Sir, Agent Vex 11 interrupted, we are receiving multiple transmissions from across Earth. It appears the humans have shared our technology globally. Shared it? Xylith Prime's voice cracked like a molting adolescent. Yes, sir. According to these communications, the temporal stabilizer blueprints have been posted on something called Wikipedia and are being discussed on various platforms called Reddit and Twitter. One human appears to have built a working prototype in his garage using spare automotive parts. I pulled up the human communication networks on my personal scanner. The sight that greeted me will haunt my dreams for the rest of my natural lifespan. A human named Jake Peterson from somewhere called Nebraska had indeed constructed a functional temporal manipulation device using parts from what appeared to be a primitive ground vehicle and some form of food preparation appliance. His message to the global network read, "Hey everyone. Used my truck transmission and mom's old microwave to build one of those time thingies. Works pretty good. Already used it to go back and grab yesterday's pizza before it got cold. October 10th would recommend." He used a food heating device, I muttered in horror. They are building temporal technology with food heating devices. That is not even the worst part, Agent Morix 7 added, his voice hollow with despair. Look at the comments. The comments section was a nightmare landscape of human ingenuity run completely amok. Someone called Time Grandma 47 had apparently improved Jake's design using kitchen utensils and was offering tutorials. A user named Physics is Easy had calculated 17 different ways to optimize temporal field generation using household cleaning products. Most terrifying of all, a 12-year-old named Science Kid 2024 had posted a mathematical proof explaining why our original Kytherian design was totally backwards, and included detailed instructions for fixing it using stuff from Home Depot. Home Depot? I queried our cultural database. What is Home Depot? It appears to be a large retail establishment where humans purchase tools and building materials. Our computer informed me helpfully. So not only had humans reverse engineered our most advanced technology in under 6 hours, they were now improving it using supplies from their equivalent of a basic tool dispensary. Xylith Prime made one last desperate attempt to salvage the situation. Open a direct communication channel, he ordered. I will negotiate with their leadership directly. Which leadership would that be, sir? Asked Agent Crix 14. According to our scans, roughly 47 different human governments are now claiming jurisdiction over temporal regulation. Also, something called the United Nations has apparently formed a committee for time travel ethics in the last 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Xylith Prime's voice was barely a whisper now. Yes, sir. They also elected officers, established a charter, and voted to invite us as honored guests to their inaugural meeting. The meeting is scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m., Geneva time. They have requested that we bring our own coffee cups. The communication channel crackled to life before Xylith Prime could respond. "Hello there," came a warm, grandmotherly voice. "This is Margaret Williams, Secretary General of the United Nations. We are so excited to meet you. I hope you like chocolate chip cookies, because I have been baking all morning." You have been baking?" Xylith Prime managed. "Oh yes, dear. Nothing says, welcome to Earth, like fresh cookies. Now, we have been reviewing your temporal manipulation techniques, and while we appreciate the craftsmanship, we think there might be some room for improvement." "Improvement?" I squeaked despite myself. "Well, yes. For starters, your power consumption rates are just dreadful. Our engineering teams have already designed some modifications that should reduce your energy requirements by about 90%. We will email you the blueprints." "Email?" Agent THWSS-2 looked confused. "It is their primitive electronic communication system," I explained weakly. "Oh, it is not primitive anymore," Margaret Williams chuckled. "Young Tommy Martinez upgraded our entire internet infrastructure about an hour ago. We are running quantum encrypted, faster-than-light data transmission now. Quite convenient, really." An hour ago. They had achieved faster-than-light communication in an hour. "Also," Margaret continued cheerfully, "we took the liberty of fixing some errors in your historical modifications. You accidentally prevented the invention of the sandwich in 1762, which would have had some rather unpleasant consequences for human development. We put that back where it belonged." The sandwich?" Xylith Prime's voice was barely audible. "Oh yes, terribly important invention. Led to portable meals, which enabled longer working hours, which accelerated the Industrial Revolution. Amazing how these little things connect, is it not?" At this point, I began to understand what was really happening. The humans were not just adapting to our changes. They were managing our timeline better than we were. "We also noticed," Margaret continued, "that your people have been having some trouble with temporal paradoxes. We fixed those too. Free of charge, of course." "Fixed, how?" I found myself asking. "Well, Dr. Vasquez developed something she calls paradox-resistant causality loops. Quite clever, really. Makes it impossible to accidentally erase yourself from existence. We will include the technical specifications with the cookie recipes." Xylith Prime finally broke. "I surrender," he announced to the entire command crew. "I formally surrender to the humans of Earth." "Oh, that is not necessary, dear," Margaret replied kindly. "We are not at war. We would simply like to be friends. Besides, you have helped us advance our technology by several centuries in a single day. We should be thanking you." "Thanking us?" Agent Vex-11 looked around in confusion. "We tried to sabotage your entire civilization." "Yes, and every time you did, we learned something new and wonderful. It was like having the galaxy's best teachers, even if you did not mean to be teaching us." That was when the final piece of the puzzle clicked into place. The humans had not just adapted to our interference. They had weaponized their own learning curve. "Tell me," I asked Margaret, my voice barely steady, "how long have you known we were here?" "Oh, about 3 weeks," she replied casually. "We detected the temporal anomalies almost immediately. But you seem to be trying so hard to help us improve, we thought it would be rude to interrupt." 3 weeks. They had known about our presence for 3 weeks and had been letting us believe we were in control. "So you have been playing with us?" Xylith Prime asked weakly. "Not playing, dear. Learning. Every modification you made taught us something new about temporal mechanics, causality, and the nature of historical change. You gave us the most comprehensive education in advanced physics imaginable. And now? I whispered. Now we would like to return the favor, Margaret said warmly. We have some ideas about improving galactic civilization that we think you might find interesting. Nothing invasive, of course. Just some suggestions. Agent Morix 7 pulled up the preliminary data on human suggestions for galactic improvement. The list was 12,000 pages long and included such items as universal healthcare implementation, standardized education systems, efficient transportation networks, and mandatory cookie exchanges between species. The cookie exchanges are Tommy's idea, Margaret added. He thinks food sharing promotes peaceful relations. And that, my fellow Kytherians, is how we went from attempting to rewrite human history to begging them to rewrite ours. The humans never conquered us through force. They never threatened us with superior weapons. They simply outthought us, outadapted us, and then invited us for coffee. As I finish this report from my comfortable quarters in the Earth orbital facility, I can see the blue planet spinning peacefully below. Tomorrow, I begin my new position as Assistant Director of Galactic Cultural Exchange, reporting directly to Secretary General Williams and her team of terrifyingly competent humans. The Kytherian Empire still exists, of course. But now it operates under human suggestions for improvement. Surprisingly, these suggestions have made us more efficient, more peaceful, and significantly happier as a species. And the cookies really are excellent. Margaret was right about that too. End of transmission.